Oop,
Hello.
I have no. In a minute. Go. Yep, put in the wrong spot. There we go. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Brian.
Welcome. My name's Brian Knight, and I live near Melbourne, Australia. It's just turned 5 o'clock in the morning here on a Friday. Um, uh, well, it's whatever. I can't remember. Well, whatever number of hours till non-farm payroll. So we'll see how that works. Let me just share this to start with. So welcome to this live Forex analysis session. Just note that any trades discussed in this group are to be classed purely as educational only. That's because we're a group of people helping each other and we're not financial advisors. There is a full risk disclosure there and a little bit about us live session traders. So let's go through pairs. How are you, Darren?
Okay, thank you.
Mm. Oh, I'm loving
Losses,
the
a
set.
couple of losses today, both of which would have been
Oh,
profitable trades under the new rules, which is interesting. A couple of
right,
the two remaining JPYs was in really
right.
tacked and TP'd out. And they did reach the 3/4 mark at one point. So yeah, so it just shows with these new rules potentially
Mm.
cut out quite a number of these losing trades.
Do you think though, Darren, because do you think it's only because of the current market situation
I
that,
mean, it could be, yeah, yeah. Well, there's no doubt the current situation is having an impact. You know, the volatility, no doubt about that. But you know, it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time we have well, we've got 4 years of Trump, haven't we? So, you know,
uh, oh, so you're,
we have volatility
so
regularly. Don't
are
we?
you
Periods of
saying
volatility.
that the current market situation is due to primarily that factor, the circus?
Well, what do you think?
Well, no, well, okay, so I suppose the question that I'm posing is, does the rules that we have sort of just developed as such, do they work? Do they still work, or will they still work in any sort of market situation as such?
Yeah.
Um,
Look, I mean, I'm expecting with these rules that I will, I'm going to get knocked out of some trades a bit prematurely, and only for them to probably take off and regret it. You know, I accept that's going to happen. And when I did some back testing, there was the odd a couple of examples of that. I think it was a Euro USD trade that
mhm,
with
mhm.
these rules would have been you know, would have been a small profit stroke break even position. When with the old rules, I made sort of 2.5% with it. So there will be that is going to happen. Absolutely, it's going to happen. Um, but we've certainly seen so far this year numerous of examples of uh,
Mm.
trades turning against me. But it's not the first time. I mean, last year was great. I had two really good runs last year. I won, won about 18 out of 20 trades, and another one, was
Yeah.
like 16 consecutive wins. But I did have, rough patches, a bit like the one at the moment. Um, which is fine because over the course of the year they were more than made up for those. But if I can reduce the number of losses, reduce that side of things, then I'd say I back tested a few pairs and um, based on that, I should be more profitable in the long run with the new rules, as opposed to the old rules. When I've been back testing, I've only looked at trades that weren't winning trades to see what the impact would
Right.
have been on the profit. So
Right.
potentially, if I go through all the losing trades, some of those may not have been losers, but I've not attempted to try and backtest that because it's so difficult because of
Because the rail's
the
moving
rails
and
moving and things.
yeah, yeah.
So far, I based on what I've looked at so far, I'm reasonably confident that it's going to be an improvement to the strategy.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that's the last point of that either.
No,
I was just having a thought of whether, to ask the question, because I think it's important to ask the questions of like, well, is it just because, like, for example, one side of the rail to the other side of the rail, that is that sort of, and one side of the rail to the other side of the rail, which is a sort of what your previous sort of strategy hung on. Like it had that requirement. Like if it didn't make it, for example, in this situation, you have a buy, it came up, it came back. Yes, it didn't challenge the stop loss. It was way down here and it created this really big, and then it took off again and went out the other side. But you're waiting from 8th of August until 30th September. Like it's probably not a long time, but there's this for me, I suppose this is where I looked at it, is like this anxiety of this pullback. Will it actually come back and challenge your stop loss? And yes, oh sure, it could take off again and you can move your stop loss to there. It's like, well, in actual fact, in this situation, you could have had one profit, a
break even, yeah.
a break even, then into a second trade for another trade. Like you will increase the number of trades that you can take that
Yeah,
potentially will be profitable. Doesn't mean we won't lose trades.
yeah.
You know, I think trades that already will be losers. It just means that they'll be sort of in a way they potentially will be double losers rather than singles. Um,
Well, as I say,
and,
those two JPYs, it was CHF and GBP.
oh,
Both,
okay.
they both
Yeah.
smashed through the bottom now, and but
Yeah,
they
this is
they they both made the 3/4 mark, sort of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
quite
yeah, yeah.
comfortably.
Mm. But you see, they had gone extreme to extreme. I mean, this came up, didn't make 3/4. So, but you probably wouldn't have. Oh, you might have been in that trade, but that came back down again. You see, that would have been maybe a double loss on that one. But the point is, for me, you're not sitting in a trade for ages for it, and that it would have stopped you out anyway. In that situation, if you would have gone like, okay, I'm in the sell, beauty, it's coming to the extreme. There's a long, I'll get into it. It comes up, doesn't make the 3/4, and it comes down. Well, whether it didn't make 3/4 or didn't make the half, on the old rules, it didn't make it to there. You would have been stopped out here anyway.
Well, I don't see this changing rules substantially. It's not going to make things worse.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
going to be.
it will be worse with double losses. That's unless you're only half of what you would, like if you normally would take a 1%, and you're taking 2.5%,
Well, that's what I'm
like
sort of doing, really. I am splitting them up, but I'm upping it from 1% to 1.5%.
Yeah, yeah, three
But
quarter on each.
just to come, just to
Just because you can.
because I can. Well, based on last year, it's
Yeah,
worked. Can I push it to 1.5%? I think I can. I think 2% would be
yeah.
two 1% trades. So that's 2% risk
Mm.
per position. That would be too much purely because I could end up with margin calls because there are occasions when I've got 20 trades running,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no,
which could be 40% of the account. So
yeah.
that's why I'm not doing 1% plus 1%.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. The thing too, um, with potentially having the stop loss, um, in quite a few cases, quite tighter than what you have had it. That's a sort of a consideration from a back testing perspective, whether that's going
Yeah,
to
I've
work.
been doing a bit of that as well, Brian. And again, the results are quite positive with that as well. So
Which is increasing your profitability as well. Because if you're going to be in a trade anyway, how many times does it actually come back in the run, come back to just above where the entry is? Very seldom. And if it is going to, it would have done it. It wouldn't
yeah,
have been a serious trade anyway. Yeah, interesting. I'm sorry, I'm just dialoguing. But I think they're important questions to ask because I'm just saying, in my experience, this is, um, you know, this trade here, like as you said, you got stopped out here on old rules or older, like the previous to now, where
yeah.
here you would have had a profitability. Yeah. Trade would have been
Even more profitable with a tighter stop loss. With the tighter
correct.
stop loss, the three
Correct.
quarter point, it would have been
Yeah.
a profitable trade. One profitable position and then one break even.
Yeah.
Um, I'd have probably come away with 1% there, possibly more, maybe 1.25.
But also, Darren, I've been thinking about, sorry, I hate the chuckle, but I've also been thinking about this second trade,
Yeah,
right? And in a way, the fail safe is in actual fact that break even, correct?
yeah,
What if though? What if though? I'm trying to work out because you have the opportunity. Let's look at this one, and you have a number of days as well. So, right, let's put in this potential trade, knowing that with the old rules, you've now lost that trade. Throw away. Let's look at what could have happened from this point to this point, right? So this is without question. You have that long there. You would have got in the trade somewhere at the next candle, somewhere in this range. Let's just say it's there. Your stop loss, because you've got that long and that candle, that you probably would go maybe to that, the wick of
yeah.
this
That's the
one
one. Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
And three quarter is roughly there. Roughly. Just don't
yeah.
quote me. You've got that. So when it did that spike, you would have profited out that trade. Done.
And and
Finished.
and that's a 1-to-1, even though the
Yeah,
trade,
yeah.
even though we're still in that trade at that point. So you've already got yourself a 1-to-1 based on
Correct.
half the
Correct. Correct. And you can't, I don't think you can,
or in my case, I'm doing 1.5% split into two
it'll
trades.
be a three quarter.
That'd be three
Yeah.
quarters of a percent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So that's and I'm just talking about this one situation. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about any other situation. So entry is still here. All right. I'm going to pull this over so that we've got it on that side now. Good. Right. So stop loss, entry, profit on one trade. Second trade is still running, and you have a potential TP at the rail. If the rails were still there at that time, and they're probably around about there anyway, right?
Yeah.
A 1.7, but it doesn't. It pulls back down again, right?
Yeah.
What if you say, I'm now going to take this, I'm going to take this up to that low there. When that candle pulls away, you wouldn't do it until after that candle's completed, but you move you move it from here to that low. You could even move it from that low, and you could wait and you could go, well, it's not much above, but it could push back down, and then you could take the next push up at the bottom of that. So it's break even plus a bit. Now, the point I want to make is you've already got one profitable trade at, I've moved that, sorry. Right. You still got one profitable trade at 0.75%. The second trade is in a way, a sort of a forfeit trade, potentially, yeah,
Yeah.
or potentially profit. So why wait for it to come back to break even? Why not try to capture something within the entry and potentially pull back on it? Why do we? I mean, it could spike and then come back up to the rail, like that. That really is a potential, thing. But after that big spike, there's normally like a pullback to it. So just in this situation, I'm suggesting that what I would do is once you get that pullback and then a push up, it's a little bit like a long short situation that you would move your stop loss to the bottom of that pullback. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And then if it does make it up to the rail, great. If it doesn't make it to the rail and it pulls back down again, because this is
Yeah. So the worst case,
this,
you had two profitable trades.
there we go. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to, like, rather than, because what I have observed you do, which is not a problem, but with your older rules, I've seen you sitting in trades for an exceptional amount of
Yeah. Yeah.
weeks with no prospect of them ever being profitable,
Yeah. No, I take your point. Yeah.
in the hope that it's going to do. So you've got days here that you could decide what you're going to do. If, for example, it just keeps going red, 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 and it's not likely, you'll get a red, green, red, whatever. It gives you some opportunity to go, well, okay, it's come down to the low, and this is just something that I've thought, gleaned over time,
Yeah.
really from Tom's insights, to be honest, is that if it comes back down here and then pushes up, well, it's going to come, it's either going to have to break that high or break that low. Like, that's just the way the market works. And so if it pulls back here, like you've got a big push up, it pulls back here. Like, why not have you? And you've already profited one trade. The second trade is now in play of either going to the rail, which isn't far, or coming back and just
Yeah.
having not a negative trade, but so maybe potentially moving your entry, or it would be your stop loss, up to just below. I mean, you could be just a little bit below it or whatever you wanted to do. So, but that would then create, for example, I'm not saying this is just number of pips, but that would create then a 200 pip profit on the second trade. Might not be a very good percentage, might not be a good percentage, but it would, well, let's just put it in what that would be. That would be long. That would be, it would be there, and your stop loss. You see, you could do something with stop loss, but the point is you have already taken that trade with a stop loss there, and basically when it comes back down, it's like 0.4. No, that's not right. That's not right. Um, oh, I can't. How do I calculate? Oh God, what am I going to do with that? Oh no, your stop loss would be up there. Oh, oh, sorry, my head's not working on this one. I'm trying to work out. So entries there. You would have your. Oh no, your stop loss would be up there, wouldn't it? Okay, yeah. Stop loss would be way up there too.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for your life.
Why in the world would you take that second trade?
Sorry, why would no, it's not taking it. Oh, you would take it at the same time as you take the first trade, Tom?
It's just it's splitting the trade really, Tom. So that's what
And
sort
I
of
understand
looking
that.
at. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
split it into two positions, and
I get that.
yeah,
But why
Uh-huh.
would you take the second trade for it to keep going when it's showing you that there's a short? You should automatically kill your trades the moment you get a change of trend line and show a short.
Yeah,
The next trade you should get into would have to show a long.
correct. But Tom, what um
You can literally wait until it says long again for that second trade to continue. If you think it's going to come back because you got a trend line change and a short, kill the trade you're in. You can always set up your next trade on the next long,
yeah, that's
from the
correct.
long to the other side of the rail.
Yeah. The issue,
You're trying to get micro pips here, getting to the other side of the rail, and there's no point to it because it says short. You got to change the trend bar. Once it pulls down, it pulls back up and doesn't beat the high of that short. You
yeah.
know it's going down.
Yeah. Well, it did see the thing in this situation,
I
Tom.
think
We
Brian's
we
looking at
got the
that
short. We
the
got the short. It
pullback you
came.
fixed before there, aren't you, Brian? You're looking at that.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at.
Tom's
Yeah,
looking at that big
correct.
pullback, but Brian's looking at the one before that.
I'm looking at the one just up in here. This
Right,
one.
but you have two trades
Even
going, right?
Yeah, even before the trend bar changes.
That's what I'm asking. So you guys have two trades going, right? Three
Yeah,
quarters each.
Yep.
Okay, so put one in. Where would you have it?
Yeah. Long position. So you get a long, so it's coming the outside. These are just the rules, okay?
Yep.
We're just saying it comes outside of the rail with candle body. That's the first requirement. Second is there's a trend bar change, and then there's a long. So you would wait for the long to finish. Entry would be on the end of that, start of that, we're somewhere at the next candle. Bang, right there where I put it. Okay. And your stop loss, instead of going all the way at the bottom, would go at
Next
the
candle. Yeah.
lowest part, wick or body, of the next lowest candle.
Yeah.
Right? And potentially of the same
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
Potentially of the same color.
If
Right?
it was like a doji candle or something, then you'd probably ignore
Which
that
is
next one.
which is that well, let's go. Which is that candle there. You wouldn't
Yeah,
put it
just
at the
ignore
bottom
that.
of that because it's the same. You've got to put it. You don't have to, but where I'm suggesting that it goes the next lower point of the previous. Well, anyway, it's just. Do you understand what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there are, so you calculate the 50% between these, where the rails are at that point, you have a price that you have a profit on one of the trades. So it's a 3/4. On one trade, you have a profit at 3/4. So at the other side of the rail, whether it's buy or sell, it's irrelevant. It's the same situation, right? Because there are situations where for Darren, it hasn't made it because what he's always the older rules are he would have a profit set at the other side of the rail, and we know they move and stuff, but still it would be here somewhere, right? So what happens is price then goes back down. You get drawdown into the negative, but it doesn't come back and challenge the bottom of it. If it does, well, you're out. And then it pushes up and you have a profitable trade, right? Because you've set your profit there before the rail. And that's at about 1%. If you had to put your stop loss down here, it would have only been 0.7 or whatever. It just, what it does is it just gives you a slightly better profitable trade. So that's one. But at the same time, you put another 3/4 trade on, stop loss here.
So clone the one you've got. Just clone it.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Clone. Right. So got that. Let's pull it across. There's the same, roughly the same entry. Now, what he's got though is he has a TP at the rail, the top rail, rather than the 3/4. Okay,
Mhm.
but you don't take it out here. You're taking it out exactly the same time. It's like
I
bang,
understand.
bang, two
Yep.
trades, right?
Yep.
3/4, 3/4. That's done. What I'm suggesting is because this does you profit that trade, bang, it's gone. Finished, you've profited out 1%. Very nice. And you've waited, I don't know, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like nearly not quite 2 weeks. Bang, you have a profitable trade at 1%. Then the other trade, what happens is it pulls back a bit and you go, okay, that's all right to have a pullback. I'm not worried in the second trade. I've
Don't
already
forget,
profited one.
we've moved the stop loss on the second one to break even at the moment, so that's
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So that's
just
right. Once that trade profits, we move this stop loss right up to break even.
Mhm.
Right. So it is a risk-free trade.
Mhm.
Risk-free, no problem. If it comes back, which it does over here anyway, it would just cut you out of the trade. It's like as if you put a trade on it and really it's just it hasn't done anything, right? It's just the effort to click the mouse. What I'm suggesting at this point, and this is just in this situation, is that what you do is you actually, in fact, move because you've got that pullback. You don't have a change of trend bar. That pullback, which is it's going to happen at every stage. But once it does that pullback in the initial, because now you're monitoring, you've already had profit on one. This is just what I'm suggesting, Darren. I'm not, because you're watching it, you got 3 days, it's pulled back and you go, oh, that's okay. I've profited one, it's pulled back. This one's break even. That's really nice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to now move my stop loss and up to here. It's hard to see because I'm counting over the candles. But so what happens now is when that pulls back, I now have a profit from here to there. Does that make sense on the second trade?
Mm-hmm.
I have some profitability on it because I'm going to take it out of the way because I need to both of these ones. So it still hasn't made the other side of the rail. The hope was that, it was really its hope, it was going to make the other side of the rail. But at this point, there's a faltering of it that it could make the rail or it could go down. Now, if you move up here, your entry, stop loss, both of them there, and it does push up to the rail, that's okay. Fine. If though it comes back, which it did, you now have had a portion of profit on the second trade, which you would not have had if you just sat there on your hands waiting for it to come back and stop you out at break even. That's all I'm saying.
I understand that.
And what you were saying, Tom, is, well, why take a second trade because you've got a short here? But you don't know that short's there when you take the trades over here. That's the issue.
That's not what
I'm
I'm
just
saying.
I'm just trying to have a couple of trades, and Darren's suggestion of 3/4 or half, like you, whatever it is, that there is an option of profitability of it rather than, and this is the thing I've observed with Darren, is Darren, he's such a good patient trader. He will stay in trades for months. I can't remember, what was it? I can't remember the CAD. No, it was a CHF,
And CHF, yeah.
whatever it was. He would stay in it for 4.5 months while it played around. He could have profited out, been sitting there just watching it, waiting for the next opportunity. But no, he was sitting there for 4.5 months and then it stopped him out. Like it's like, ah!
It did hit the top of the rail, that one eventually.
Oh, eventually profit.
Right,
Yeah,
it just shot up, hit the rail, and finally,
Oh, okay, yeah.
finally did it. So,
And that's okay. That's okay, but like, I'm just trying to get another. Oh, that's all right. So I don't know, Darren, about your thoughts on moving from any little pullbacks because, yes, it could knock you out and you might not make it to the rail, or it might go to the rail. It might do a pullback and then go to the rail. But why be stuck in the trade? Because, trends go up and trends go down. It's like for it to continue, it's going to have to, as Tom says, for it to continue up, it's going to have to break the high. And if it doesn't break the high, it's going to start breaking lows, which it did. And you don't know
We're going to
that
have to
because,
give you another long.
correct. So when you look at it only like, where is it? Like that, you go, great, it's going to now go back up. Well, and at that candle, you got a whole day. You could say, all right, I'll just move my break to just below there. And then it comes like this. And you go, oh, well, it wasn't going to make the rail anyway, potentially. And no, it never did. But if it did, well, great, you would profit that. But at least you've got some profit out of this from understanding how the candles or how the price behaves. That's all I'm saying.
I understand that. So when you guys have the first two trades set up and it's running,
Yeah.
and you see the big push up and it pulls
Yeah.
back and you get that first red candle that changes the trend bar red.
That one there, yeah.
That one there. And you've
Yeah.
moved your stop losses up to the bottom of the red candles right there.
Only the second trade, Tom.
Fine.
Yep.
And that stops out.
Yep.
Why do you not wait rather than trying to get that last little bit to the rail for another
That's what,
trade on a long.
that's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. But you
So
see,
if you get that short,
yeah,
so what I'm saying is if you get that short,
yeah,
even if it doesn't hit the other side of the rail,
yeah.
you should still be looking for a short the other direction, right?
Yeah, the problem is, Tom, with this is not the problem, but the criteria of the rules. Darren would not take that short as a trade because it has not gone outside the rail at that top side. He's not going to take that trade because his criteria is it must have body outside to for that short to have a trade. It must come outside of the rail to take that buy on the long. Because this has not come out of the rail, he's not going to take that trade on the short. I, I know you would, and potentially I would, but the rules that Darren has, one of the really basic rules is that it needs to come outside the rail because it has to create either an overinflated price, either expensive price or a cheap price. That's all the rails mean. It means price is expensive, price is cheap. And then there is a propensity for it to go in the other direction. That's the sort of thought behind it, as I understand. Am I right, Darren?
Yep, that's it in a nutshell.
Good. So yeah, so Darren wouldn't take it on that short because it could just do short and give us another long and then keep going up too. You wouldn't know. Has that answered the question, Tom? Or
Not really, but that's okay.
okay. And has that ruffled your feathers, Darren, in relation to the second trade?
It's it's really basically it's about sort of on that second trade is managing it more actively, isn't it? That yeah,
A little bit more actively, yes,
yeah,
correct,
yeah.
correct.
Um,
The point though, Darren, I've observed you are quite active about moving where your TP is and doing all
yeah.
that. I can't see this is going to change very
No, it
much
doesn't.
in
No, it doesn't. No.
your sort of daily operation of things. It just means that you have got one profitable trade, two small, the second one a small profitable trade, and you're not in any of this rubbish. Well, rubbish from your rules and trade perspective.
Yeah.
And all you do is you're sitting and waiting for it to come outside the rail ready to be able to do the buy again.
And I've given up profit in the meantime, and well, that's now a loss. That's a full 1% loss. That when
Yeah. Where you could have had a 3/4 gain and a bit.
yeah,
And now just sitting on your hands, watching what it does. And watching Tom profit from the short down.
but there will be
I'm not
occasions.
suggesting you take that trade.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying,
But there will be occasions when I'll get in, say on a long there,
yeah,
following the rules, it'll turn and take me out
yeah,
without ever coming all the way back to the bottom rail. Just turn, take me out, and then carry on
yeah,
and sort of leave me behind. But you just got to sort of take it on the chin when that happens. Really,
yeah,
that will happen from time to time.
yeah,
And you'd be thinking, oh, kicking myself. Look at that's gone now.
yeah, exactly.
It just took me out prematurely. So, but yeah, I'm quite keen to reduce some of these losing trades and have an even more profitable year this year.
Mm,
So last year was still pretty good. So overall, so
What was the other one that you got stopped out on too?
GBP, JPY,
GJ. Yeah, okay,
yeah, exactly
GJ.
the same.
Mm. Well, let's look at that one. I mean, look at this again. You got the long there, you got the next. You would get in a trade probably there. That would be your stop loss. Gee, 300 something. Wow. Where the hell is that going? Up there. That's 3/4, like your 1% on that, right?
Yeah.
Lovely. And then you got your second trade on. Your entry would be there. Yeah, you're not really moving it. The second trade, you wouldn't. Can you see what I mean?
Yeah, the second
With
trade
that, with
would have
that
been,
pullback,
yeah,
you're basically back at entry anyway. It would have got you out of that trade,
yeah,
right? At break even, which is
yeah,
fine. Which is fine because when it took off, you wouldn't move it. It would come down and either take you out, or it just depends. You'd be in this. You could be just there by the skin of your teeth. It could take off, but then it just comes back. But you
yeah,
would have you would
yeah,
have your trade
yeah,
up to there, because when it came back, it'd take you out break even again. Like that's just you wouldn't get anything out of the second trade. But who cares? You've already profited. Where in this situation with your older rules, you've lost.
yeah,
Bang. And you've had to wait till it came all the way back down here. Oh no, you'd moved your stop loss to here because it had
yeah,
done that.
so,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
that made a
You'd
lot.
moved from there to there.
Yeah,
So
so
you just moved deck chairs on the Titanic.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it sank. Yeah,
Yeah, then it just dropped right off.
yeah, it's an
Uh,
iceberg, and off it
yeah,
went.
it did the iceberg and then it went. Yeah. So there's two trades that you've been sitting in for a month or two, and you've lost both trades. They could have been both profitable, and you not be in it wondering whether it would come back to entry or not,
Yeah,
or to stop loss. I'm seeing more of these examples as I
yeah.
go along.
Well, if you look at, sorry, I'm jumping around. If you look at oil, which is
Yeah,
still
no, that's all
very
right. We'll go
well,
down there.
it's a good. This would be a good one to try this because this is still going pretty well. So it's now hit the 3/4 mark. So I've just closed, taken taken half the trade out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So
Cool.
I didn't have two positions, so I couldn't do that.
All fine.
But I've so we're now made some profit. The rest of the trades risk free. At the moment, I wouldn't do anything with it. The stop loss is at break even. But
Oh,
then,
because your entry is, hang on a minute, we'll just do that just so that we know. Short, done the short thing. Trade somewhere around here is your entry.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where my
Eh,
stop loss is on the
Your,
remaining
your stop
half of the
loss is
trade.
way up there, was it?
Yeah,
It wasn't there. But it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put it
yeah.
where
Under the new
you
rules, it would be, yeah, where you got it.
and you would have profited there. That's 2.14%. Like when you've got it up the top there, it's
Yeah.
1.5. Let's just do that. And
Yeah.
the
It makes
reality
a
of it.
doesn't look a lot, doesn't look a lot when you do that, but then it makes a
Oh,
big
but
difference, doesn't
it is a lot,
it?
right?
It is,
So
yeah.
now you've got one profitable trade, right? And that's your entry. The rest of your trade is now at break even. So
Yeah.
you can't lose. You
No.
have now banked money, and anything that happens, if it pulls around and goes back up or spikes or whatever, you just happy days
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
no it's not going to challenge it. Sorry, it's not going to change any of your bank balance with
So
it.
if we get a pullback and then another push down, then potentially I can think about moving the stop loss.
Yeah. So if this like you get something like this, a
Yeah.
pullback and then a push down, then I would move my trade, my stop loss to there, which means from there to there, that's a little bit of profit. If it goes all the way to the other side of the rail, which you have your TP, will fantastic.
Yeah.
But the point is, if that goes and then say for example, it's a pullback there and then, so then you're increasing your amount of profit as well. Well, it doesn't actually change the initial trade, but if it does pull back and then goes further, then and it never makes the rail, then at least you um have some profit in this section here.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it is now from the 3/4 to the rail is like a not crucial, but it's like this is a focus zone now. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
as it's going down, you don't sort of particularly tend to worry because you've got to trade in a break even, right? Like, like now it's like, how can I maximize my a profit on the second trade or on the second half now in this situation? This could quite easily make the rail and push out the other side and you profit on that. Great. But if someone
It's gone.
opens their mouth in the wrong way or says the wrong thing and this does a flip, well, and it doesn't make it to the other side of the rail, like here, bang, 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 like it doesn't make it to the rail,
Yeah.
then you've now that break even safety net, there could have been some level of profit in it on the second trade. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No.
This is where my head goes all the time. Darren, how do I improve what you have created as in the, I think it actually more Tom and I and you, and it's a bit of a combination really. Because in the end, the rule that you're not going to change is that it needs to come outside the rail.
Yeah.
That's hard and fast at this point.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say something.
I'll say, just putting things into context, we're still only talking, these are daily candles, so we're still only having to look once a day to see what that candle's done.
Correct.
It's not, there isn't a lot more to do, really.
No. But all I'm saying is this is now the focus point of a second trade that you're in. Once the 3/4 first trade or half in this situation is profitable, then now is your, you need to move the second half or second trade to break even. And then now is your focus of like, well, you still have your TP at the rail and you can move that as the rail moves away. But you're now focusing on each daily candle to see how you can profitably gain some extra income out of it, some extra profit. And the point is this could just do red, 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 red down to the rail. That's great. Or it could do red, green, red, red, red. So if it pulls up to that green, I would be moving my entry stop loss as such to that.
Yeah.
And look, if it makes it to if it can't, spikes a bit more and then doesn't make it or does make it to the rail, well, so what? But you have made some. But if it spikes up and then it comes back down and does do the rail, well, great, you've got that as well. It's like,
Yeah.
because it's just my thoughts have been about this second trade, going, yes, break even is okay, that's great. If you never move it, who cares?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying you could actively create some extra profit. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. Now we've got non-farm payroll coming too. I'm pretty sure yeah,
Well, we
non-farm
had the
payroll.
interest rate cut on the pound. So that's, I think that, and
Yeah,
there's talk also of, I think, of 3 rate cuts this year. So I think that weakened the pound as well. That was,
yeah, the last few days, yeah.
yeah.
That happened, yeah, on the 6th. Oh, that's your today. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it did drop off, didn't it? But it sort of preempted that drop too. It didn't make it to the rail, but then you wouldn't have been in this trade anyway, like GA. You're in that, but you see, this is another we've talked about this one. Like if you were on the short, beauty, lovely, um, 2 trades,
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
three
So,
quarter your profit, it comes back, it's break even. But you see, the thing about that is you see how that popped back up there and then drop back down. I'd be moving my to here. And then you've got between there and there, sorry, between there and there, you've got profit on the second trade, and then it just jumps back up again. It never made it to the rail.
oh,
So this is sort of like you're watching these candles, and then whatever high it goes to, you're moving it to the most recent high. Because as Tom says, it's either going to have to break up high or break down low. It's like just how it works. And that's sort of like in a way, the focus period, because you've already profited the first trade, and now your focus is to maximize any profit in the second trade. That's how I will say. All right, GCAD. Again, the basic rule is no candle outside the rail, so you're not going to be taking that short anyway. Yeah,
yeah.
correct? Right,
Yeah.
good. It's sold. But in this situation, you've got the long, you would have had 2 trades, one at 3/4, one when it hit the top of the rail. Beautiful, happy days. You've got 2 trades out of it,
Yeah.
right? That's a whole 1.5%. You didn't have to, and it's done. Bingo, bango, job's finished. Yeah. And once you had that 3/4 trade, so see, you got that 3/4 profit and it pulled back, you would move this second trade up to just below that red. Did it ever challenge it? No. It just went up, touched the rail, you would have profited.
Yeah.
And then it started coming back down. So you're out of any of that, and you're not into any second in any other trade. GBP CHF. Yeah, well, you're not in any of this because it's all just in the middle anyway. GJ is the one that lost, but that's okay. That's on old rules. Would have been nice here on if you had to use old rules up here. And then 3/4, then it pushed up. When it pulled back on that red one, you would move it to there, then it came down and would have stopped you out. But you would have had a bit of profit from there to there. Yeah? And yes, it would have gone back up, and you would have gone, oh no, it's taking me out, and it's gone back up, but it never made the rail, and then it just dropped down. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, GN. That also is pull up. This is exactly the same as GA. Yeah, two trades, get one, change that to there, bang, then second trade. This makes sense. Now this is the one you're in GBP and Singapore. Now that's come back to your that came back. You had drawdown. Now you're sort of just above break even, correct?
No, because my long,
Oh, your long was further up,
yeah.
so
So
you're still in a bit of drawdown.
that's a bit of drawdown.
Okay,
Yeah, that spike really spiked down that one.
yeah.
So, um, that was with the
But it
interest.
didn't come down to here where I would, under the new rules, I would have had my stop loss. I wouldn't have had it there. I would have had it at the one previous candle. Wherever yours is, you would have it at your one previous. You could have got knocked out at that,
Well, actually, I've got my stop loss
at the
where
bottom of where my long is.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've ignored those.
Yeah, those ones that are all even.
They're all even, so it's
Yeah,
below.
okay.
So it
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
come down quite close, but stuck back up. So
Yeah. So now it's whether this will be a loss or whether it'll now continue up. So it just depends. But you've got a rate decision, so it could come down further.
well, that's
But
going to decision, isn't it? There was also within the sort of conversation around it that an expectation that inflation would go up again later this year. So
yeah.
so that might mean interest rates won't be cut as quickly.
Mm, mm. But in this situation of this trade, this may be a double loss. If it comes down further and breaks that
Yeah.
low and pushes down lower, which we don't know over the next few days, or because it's done that, now it might be a rebound and go back up. Again, you can't win every trade.
Oh no,
So
no, I'm not bothered about that. That's absolutely
no,
fine.
I know you're not. And there's GU. So there's the long. You could be in that trade there somewhere. Stop loss would be down here. It's done that. It hasn't quite made it. Ooh, I don't know. No, not quite made it to the three
It
quarter,
quite
has
came
it?
close, but it didn't. Yeah, came
Yeah.
close.
Okay. So it just, yeah. Are you're in that trade up?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So what you're waiting for is it to push back up a bit further to give you that three quarter.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the
Stop
second
loss
trade will
breaking.
come back up to break even. So anyway, all right. Now I need to go. I'm sorry. We haven't gone through pairs, but I know there's no fun power roll. I just wanted to have that discussion, Darren, because I'm
No,
just
it's
sort of what I've been
really helpful.
seeing.
It's really
Uh,
helpful. It's been really helpful this last couple of days talking about this. It's so I've
yeah.
sort of been on doing my own thing in the background, and it is good to
Oh,
get that.
it's never been in the background, Darren. Sorry.
No, in terms, I've just been following my own rules and
Yeah.
just that's been really helpful. No, thank you for that.
No, well, that's what we're all here for anyway.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the way Tom, like, and or I trade. Like, for example, on that short, I could take that trade,
Yeah.
and because even though it didn't come outside the rail, so we'll look at how we will shake your cage a little bit maybe in the future, Darren. But
Yeah.
initially, that where it has to come outside the rail is a sort of hard and fast rule at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, But yeah, there's a long time you wouldn't be in a trade until it comes to here. But the point is, I think what you made was, the point that you made is you can't be in too many trades as well. So, waiting till it comes outside the rail at points actually will sort of be a good way of limiting the amount of trades that you would be in anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other comments, Tom? From
No, I'm good.
any thoughts from the Supreme Master or
Nope.
no? Okay. Right, yeah.
Supreme leader, even.
I'm
Well,
talking
that's
about Tom. I'm not talking about the other one.
Ayatollah Trump, the supreme leader.
Oh no.
You see where Saudi Arabia just handed him a slip of note under the door?
No.
Saudi Arabia told him, "You're not taking over Gaza without a two-state solution," and they're
Yeah, correct.
staying.
Correct. Yeah, no, I know that. Yeah.
So let's see all that money go to work now.
No, they're already backtracking on that. Trump, aren't they? 'Cause Trump said that it was talking about it as a permanent thing. Now he's sort of press secretary and the rest of his entourage are now quickly amending that now, the narrative. It would be a temporary measure while they rebuild Gaza. So they've changed that now. He's already rolled back on that that particular announcement. There you go.
It's interesting to observe too, Tom, the amount of Democrat bashing that's going on at the moment. It's quite immense.
Yeah, we're the next one to go to the concentration camps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm. Just like, yeah.
You know, I watched a video the other day, and I know you got to go, Brian. I'm going to make this
No,
quick.
that's okay. That's okay.
Eric Trump posted that either we get along and conform, or we're all in trouble. They'll do worse to us than we can possibly imagine, is what he was saying. And this one Marine put him in check. And it was like, who's we? Because we know it ain't you. You ain't man enough. So who's we? Because I'll tell you what, I could take you in a heartbeat, and I'm not even the top 10% of Marines that live in this country that say you're not going to push us around. So I'm just waiting for this moment for a spark, one little spark.
I'm waiting for the
And we're going to
assassination.
have a major clash here.
Waiting for the
Major.
assassination.
You mark my words.
Yeah, well,
It's coming.
the tinderbox. Yeah, well, Tom, I don't disagree with you. It's yeah, if you poke the bear hard enough, the bear's going to respond. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Simple.
And it only takes a handful of guys. It doesn't take an entire nation. You get 5 badass Marines that say this has to end. They'll end it. That's all it's going to take. 2 special forces guys. In fact, give me 3. Give me 3 special forces guys, and I could change this government in about a day and a half. That's what they really need to worry about.
No, they don't. They're too cocky about all of that. So.
Yep. They think they got it in hand.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is they're still just human beings. That's it.
Yeah. They're not special.
No. They're not like you, Tom.
I am no more special than anybody else.
Yeah, I know. It's the reality of life, isn't it? All right. Sorry. Stay safe with the non-farm payroll. I'm sorry to get too many cogs working, Darren, but I want us together. I want us to create more profitability for all of us along the track. So we'll see how we go. All right, then. No worries. Until it'll be pre-opening the market next week. We'll see you then, maybe. All right, then.
Take care.
Ciao. Bye-bye.